I wasn't going to make this video, but it seems like some people have a bit of a problem. It appears that the Sony FX2 dropped last week and the people had some things to say. The internet took time out of its day to really bring it down. Now, yes, of course I shoot Sony, and yes, I want them to be good cameras because it means that it stops my mind flirting and wandering to other camera brands. But nonetheless, I am not a Sony apologist. I think I'm pretty good at taking my rose-colored glasses off and really assessing things for what they are. But this launch of the FX2 has really brought things to a head, and the issue isn't Sony. And it's actually not even the FX2. You wanna know what the issue is? It's you and me. Well, it's some of us. We are at a point where we expect too much and we are spoiled for choice, and we have so many options that we just expect everything to be that Nokia 3315 jump to the smartphone, jump to the iPhone revolution, or the A1 when it came out and just took everyone's socks off. Or what about the A7S III when that came out and just was the man, everyone's pants fell down. That is what we're expecting for every camera release. We need a little bit of a reality check. I think we've just come to a point where we expect too much and too cheap. You see, 10 years ago, we had cameras like the A7R2, which were breakthrough for the time, and they're still very capable of taking quality photos today. But then 10 years before that, it was a Canon 5D Mark I. Tech over the last 20 years has moved at a rapid pace, and in the last 5 years, we've kind of found ourselves in that curve where things start to taper off and we don't notice the changes and improvements as obviously as we once did. But that doesn't mean that they're not there. You see, every year we go out and we get the latest iPhone, which is the best one that we've ever made.
It's the best iPhone. These are the best iPhones we've ever created.
Because there's a new button on the side. We take it home, we use the button once, we forget it's even there. We continue doom scrolling away, doing exactly what we did on our old phone, and forget that we even upgraded phones in the first place. But if you go back to your old phone now, you'll notice it's not as fast, the screen isn't as bright, the connection isn't as quick. Because of the rapid ascension of technology over the last 20 years, we just don't notice those incremental advancements as much as we once did. So are the specs of the FX2 a little bit underwhelming on paper? Absolutely, but there's two things I think that people are missing. Specs don't ever really tell the full story, and the second thing is the last time that I checked, 2 came before 3, and this is the FX2, not the FX3, which somehow everyone seemed to be expecting that this was and was mad that it wasn't, when it's just another option for creators. It's not meant to be better than an FX3, it's not meant to be an FX3 Mark II, it's something separate. The tagline is literally your journey starts here. It's an entry-level, full-frame, in their cinema-style housing. For all the people saying, it's just a rehoused A7 IV, well, isn't the FX3 and the FX6 just a glorified rehoused A7S III? Let me tell you one thing, as someone who is an owner of an A7S III, I own an FX6, I'm shooting on it right now, and I have had extensive use with an FX3, I can tell you, they're not the same. They might have the same sensor in certain parts,
but they're not the same camera.
I expect different results out of each camera when I use them in certain situations. They are 3 different cameras, 3 different names, and they all have the same sensor, but for some reason, shit just hits a little bbit different.
Oh, that was different.
There is a different image quality that I come to expect out of an FX6 as opposed to an A7S III, etc. Maybe even though the A7S III and the A7 IV don't really overheat that much, maybe it's having built-in fans keep the sensor cool, which gives different color reproduction or different highlight fall off, whatever it might be. I don't know, just give things a chance, because I'm telling you from an owner-operator,
it's different.
Anyone who's hated on the FX2, I can guarantee one thing. Within the next 6 months, when these cameras are out in the world, in people's hands, you're going to be scrolling Instagram one day. You're going to be like, ooh, that's a cool video. I wonder what that was shot on. You're going to scroll down and you realize, uh-oh.
FX2.
Guarantee you. Because as much as the camera does the recording, it's the operator that does the work. If you think otherwise, well, you probably don't even need an FX2.
Got it!
You know, because gear only really starts to matter once you actually know what you're doing. And ironically, if you know what you're doing, you can start to get really great results with any camera. Obviously, if you're a skilled operator and you're using something like a Burano or a Venice, well, you'll get fantastic results, but you get the point I'm trying to make. Buying a cine style body of an FX2, which comes with things like the mounting ports, the dual tripod screws, the optional XLR audio, as well as things like cooling fans, would be so worth it for so many people over an A7 IV. Imagine you're a podcaster recording long takes, or you're a church live streaming services and you want to live stream and record in 4K. Or let's say you're a wedding shooter and you need a B or a C camera sitting on a tripod, sitting out in the Australian heat.
That's pretty high.
recording at 25 frames for long extended periods. Well, with this, you can let it run, you've got that fan, you don't have to worry about it. Ah, but Jed, they've got the FX30, it's got the same cooling fan. Yeah, alright, well now let's go inside for the speeches at the reception at the wedding, which is always notoriously in low light. Now you've got that full frame sensor, fantastic, set on a tripod, forget about it. Just because something's not made for you doesn't mean you need to have a cry. Remember the tagline from the camera? Your journey starts here. This camera wasn't meant to be a revolution. It's meant to be someone's first entry into a full frame camera in the cinema line of cameras. Something that's accessible to a much wider group of people.
But it doesn't suit me, so I'm angry and I'm gonna tell everyone.
It's also a camera that could work perfectly well as a B or C cam to an FX3 or an FX6. Just because something exists doesn't mean it has to be your one and only. Because who cares about 4K 60 crop if it's your B cam? Because no one's shooting slow motion in an interview when you're locked off shooting an interview. That's just stupid. And would I prefer no crop? Absolutely. But for slow motion, it's actually not that bad. Normally when I'm shooting slow motion, I'm on a tight lens anyway. I said what I said, yes I prefer it's not there, but you can get by with it. You know, the funny thing about most of the people who are bashing away in the comments real angry about this camera release isn't for me. There's two things you need to know. They weren't going to buy it anyway, and second of all, it wouldn't help them.
Oh! Whoa! Whoa!
Yes, that's right, I take receipts. When I get a hating comment or I see these comments on other people's videos, sometimes I'll click through and I'll have a look. And most of those people don't need 4K 60 uncropped. They need a lesson in exposure. And then the other half don't need 6K open gate, they need a course on composition. I'm not trying to be a prick, I'm just trying to point out that nothing is going to help you get better other than you. If you're at the point where you're like, oh, the camera is going to make me better, spend a little bit of time, practice, go out there and shoot, make some bad stuff, and then make some slightly better stuff, make some more stuff, you'll start to make some good stuff, and then once you've done good stuff, you can start to think about making some great stuff.
Ooh, Daddy, yes.
This all comes from a place of love. Grab your camera, go shoot some photos, go shoot some videos, and just get better. And when I say you, I'm not directing this at you per se, I'm directing it at the camera niche in general, the angry troll commenters. I don't know why there's so much hate in the camera space. What we do is a lovely art form. We document things, we capture these precious memories, and for what? Just to hate on each other because you use a different brand than me. So dumb. Everyone just love everyone. And to the rest of the whiners who just need something to moan about, seriously, if it's not for you, who cares? Don't we have bigger fish to fry here? Like, why are we wasting our keystrokes being like, oh, this camera company's using old sensors and different technology from older cameras to put into a new camera just to sell and make money? Seriously, who cares? Isn't that just savvy business? No one blew up when the Lamborghini Murcielago used the same indicators as the Ford Focus Mark I. This is common in the car industry. Car manufacturers share parts like Sony share sensors, but also in the car industry, it's not uncommon for the same model of car to use the same engine for 6 years at a time. Just look at the Ford F-150. Historically, the best-selling car in America typically doesn't get a new engine for up to 6 years. So considering the Ace M4 is only 3.5 years old, just saying. Imagine if they just wasted them all. They just chucked them in the bin and they wasted all those raw materials, the manpowers, the energy consumed to make them, the carbon footprint. Also, they can go out and make a new sensor for an entry-level full-frame camera that you're not even gonna buy. Like, get out of here. They could have just not made anything and you'd all still be screaming about Lumix doesn't have autofocus or blah blah. And if they did make you a new sensor for this entry-level camera, guess what? They would have had to charge you for the R&D and the price would have gone up and you'd complain about that too. Seriously. Most of the people complaining about this camera weren't actually going to buy it anyway. And I know this camera isn't for me personally, so you know what I did when I saw the announcement? I carried on about my day. Because it's not for me, I didn't get upset.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
What does upset me is the uneducated, the stupidity that we find within this camera niche. Can't we just love each other and just love cameras and just go, these little magical boxes capture the world how we see it and we get to replay these special moments that only ever happen once? That's cool. Why do we have to be stupid? Getting mad about something that wasn't made for you is so silly. Imagine it's Christmas morning. Your sister has been dying for a Razor scooter. She's been writing to Santa all year, and on Christmas morning, lo and behold, she unwraps the gift and it's a Razor scooter. And you're there throwing a tantrum going,
It doesn't have pedals. It doesn't have a seat. It's not a bike.
she didn't want a bike. She wanted a scooter. She got a scooter. Fantastic. Not for you. off, move along.
Unfounded rage.
Like imagine if I went into a department store and I tried on a size small woman's crop top and then I got mad at the sales rep because the crop top didn't fit me. She'd be like, well, it wasn't made for you. Of course it doesn't fit you. It's just silly. That's stupid. You're better than that. I'm better than that. Let's just not do it. I think the main problem with the FX2 here in Australia at least is the pricing. You see in America it's about $200 more than the A7 IV, but in Australia it's $1,700 more than the A7 IV, which leaves a little bit more of a grey area as to what camera should I buy. But all in all, I think once an FX3 Mark II and an FX6 Mark II are eventually released, this whole FX2, 3, 6 lineup kind of will flesh things out a bit more, and they'll probably come out at a more expensive price range. It'll all start to make a bit more sense. I don't know, I think I'm just going off purely a hunch, but the 3 and the 6 Mark II is what I'm waiting for. Or maybe a Burano Lite, that would be nice. That being said, I think we could all take a moment to appreciate the gear that we do have. We all love gear and we all love getting new gear, but just remember, if it's not for you, doesn't mean it's not for someone else. This was probably a bit of a pointless video, but I've just become so frustrated with what the camera community here on social media, YouTube, Instagram has become. A bunch of angry savages with comments louder than their work. If you're going to leave negative comments about cameras on pages, believe me, when I click on your page, you better have the imagery to back it up to let me know that you could actually use that camera and that you're not hoping for a magic bullet to just fix all your problems. Disagree? Fight me in the comments below. I'm going to go listen to Rage Against the Machine. My name is Jed. See you next time. Bye!
Look, back and I'm better than ever. I think I got a vendetta. Oh, now they call me, I seen them. All of those times getting severed.